Go.
All right, there we go. So, this video is just the part we forgot to include in the last video. So this will be like another one apart from the first one. And we will, we also forgot to talk about so many things about the how the second language is used in every city in each city. And well, first, uh, also we have to talk about how do we classify the picture we have chosen, which is also in the assignment we wrote, but we will say like uh, how do we consider these pictures. So you wanted to start first, Christian?
Sure. One way that so especially in New York, because there are so many different populations, and actually speak many different languages. But I would say the secondary language in New York is Spanish. We find that in public areas, this is subways and also in public parks and also in airports, we find general directions for community safety reflected and translated in Spanish. And you're seeing it more and more. It's not just in the Spanish-speaking neighborhoods, but you're starting to see it in the rest of the boroughs, not just in Queens or in Spanish Harlem, but throughout the rest of Manhattan. In fact, the majority of the signs that I found were in Lower Manhattan, which is not typically a place where you see Spanish translations. From the restaurant that I found
Yeah.
to the translation of the instructions for what to do in the dog park. So it's something that we're finding more and more commonplace, not just there, but also with the advertisements, which is a great thing. It's nice to see.
That's really good. I mean, also, I think that we in Spain we don't have Madrid we don't have like that kind of separation. I think that English also as we said on the assignment, the more you get into the center of Madrid, the more you will see things in English also translated into that language, because it is assumed that there will be like more foreign people or people from different countries, and they will understand it better. That's why I put the things in English rather than another language.
Yeah.
So I think it's also great. I have a question regarding the Spanish. It is also known that both English and Spanish have has a like social prejudice. Also can be good, bad, but it's like when you see someone talking another language, you also get like really amazed about that. No, it could be in a good way or in a bad way, but in Spain we have like a mixture of that. So the question I have to ask you is, in New York, if someone is speaking Spanish in the street, uh, how how is the image that that person gives to you?
For me personally, it's normal. And I think that's true just because of how diverse the cultures are in New York and the history of different cultures in New York. One of the cool things about it, that's why we're seeing more signage in different boroughs, just because people are becoming more and more integrated. I think it's something that is becoming more and more commonplace. So it's a good thing. It's very, very healthy. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I was thinking about the I don't know uh, if it sounds familiar to you, the typical the Karen. You know that well. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it very well because I really like that videos. Definitely not the type of person, but it
Yeah.
is New York City with plenty of Karens or something like that. Maybe just
Less in New York than you find in other cities. I'm from
mm,
Los Angeles, and so you find it more here just because you don't have as much diversity. One
mhm.
of the cool things about New York with the subways is that you have people from different neighborhoods that are constantly crossing into other neighborhoods. So you have culture reflected on the streets every single day, as
Yeah.
opposed to people just staying in one place. So
Well,
people from Queens coming to Manhattan, people from Manhattan
mhm.
going to Queens. So
Yeah,
there's
for
a
sure.
lot more cross flow throughout the day, even if people
Yeah,
go
yeah.
back home to their neighborhoods. So it's a
Wow.
cool thing about the public transportation and just
Hmm.
really how integrated the city is. So you have it less here, which is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I mean, that's really dope, man. I mean, so for sure. But I think also, as we mentioned on the assignment, it was written that we are also in Spain, we see the person who speaks in English. I mean, and it's an immigrant. Also, we see like really cool, like really sounds even sexy or depending of the accent, but it sounds like really attractive to our ears. So but if we identify someone who's Spanish or Spanish speaker and like they are trying to speak in English and we notice that Spanish like you liar. I mean, so it's like we don't really like that. We like if like you know, we're Spanish. You're not from outside, so don't try to be cool. Like the prejudice. It's like really I think it's like really oppressive to ones who want to try to speak English. So that is why in Spain we don't have a really good level because we are really shy about talking in public in English. So
One of the cool things
basically,
about New York is you have entire neighborhoods that are majority Spanish speaking. So people become more confident,
yeah,
because they have their culture really based in certain neighborhoods.
for
Right?
sure.
We have an area called Spanish Harlem, like it's literally in the name. So you have,
Really?
yeah. So
No way. I
yeah,
didn't
so
know
it's one of
that.
those cool things. And people travel there for the food and also for the culture. New York is very big on different cultures. So
Mm,
it's kind of a historical landmark.
yeah,
People go to these neighborhoods just because they want to see different things. So it's kind of a cool thing.
for sure. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that. And it's like, well, I wasn't expecting that that it was so. I mean, it has so diversity,
Yeah.
in a city. So it's really good. Um, so I don't know if we should like repeat the same thing as the assignment, but we also write our description of the how do we classify the pictures in the assignment. So I don't think it's really necessary to talk about it. Like I classify this picture in top down, bottom up, because we have a lot. But yeah, for sure. I mean,
But we do, like you were saying, and I'll just kind of quickly go over it. We've got
yeah,
top down
for sure.
one, we've got top down three. We have a lot of different things that we discuss in our essay,
Ah,
just because there are a lot of different uses for the signs in both
mm,
cities, and a lot of similarities between them, which is kind of a cool thing.
yeah,
Maybe for different reasons, but it's a good thing.
you also told me that Spanish is used in business, or
Spanish is used a lot more in businesses. You find a lot of banks with Spanish translations on them to bring people in. It's
well,
kind of a cool thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, also we don't use, and also I figured it out by myself that in banks, which is like really important to even if you're from other country. Uh, I mean, it's like a really important thing to have a translation on it. So for me, it was like, why is everything in Spanish? It's not. I don't know why you don't translate anything into English or something like that. I really well, I wasn't expecting that. So, but it sounds really. We also use too much English. Also vocabulary words in the business area. Uh, that you also could recognize who's like working on a big company because
right.
of the vocabulary because sounds really tedious, like really um man eh, say you have a reunión, no a meeting or sorry, I
Right,
got a meeting. It's like lo siento, tengo un meeting instead of lo siento, tengo una reunión.
right.
Entonces, it sounds like whoa, you know even though you are I mean, like working at a big company, you're speaking in English, so sounds like so tedious too. But I mean, no, we also use it too much in business.
It's kind of a cool thing too, because now when you're watching English television, you'll see entire commercials in Spanish, which is not something that used to happen. So I know it's
Wow, I think it's a really big difference because I mean, we use English, but we trying to use like words or little phrases or something like that. Uh, I mean, like short sentences. And that's it. I mean, we use Spanish because we we try. I mean, we know that they're not good in English.
yeah.
But the whole conversion is like, well, I mean, I think it's really a
Is
big difference.
growing. That's not what I used to see in my childhood. So I know that people are becoming more accustomed to seeing different languages. And again, Spanish speaking populations in New York are, I mean, more and more power for money, and then also just people are aware of what's here, and people are more accepting to see things in different languages reflected. So it's a positive thing.
Well, that's really really low, man. You know, I was trying to ask you about so many things because some of the groups have talked about the how the language like gives you an identity and something like that,
Yeah.
and that could lead to in a place like New York. I don't know, but there are so many places in the U.S. that it could also create like racism, maybe like that,
Yes.
or I don't know if it's the case of New York. I don't know. Maybe because of the huge variety, it doesn't happen. But I don't know.
Less so in New York. I'm sure that it still happens, but I think less so in New York than it is in other parts of the country, just because there are parts of the country that it is just one ethnicity.
Mm,
But in New York, you see less and less of it just because really just how diverse the city is. You have entire neighborhoods that are Spanish speaking. And again, I think public transportation really is a big part of it because people travel from one place to another. So you hear more Spanish on the subway, you
mm,
hear it in the streets. There's more exposure to it throughout the day. So
that's right.
it's not something that's foreign. It's something that's normal. Like I said, and you're seeing it reflected everywhere. So yeah,
Mm,
definitely in different parts of the country, there is still a stigma, and there is still unfamiliarity. But it's a benefit of New York that is, I would say, really one of the most diverse cities in the entire nation.
yeah,
So it's a good thing.
that's really good. I mean, well, I think uh, I also ran out of ideas, but like, let me look at this. Because uh, so we could also uh we can also say that the one of differences. Also, we have a lot similarities, but one another difference we find is like how it's separated the city into places when the other language appears most. So uh, as you were talking, like you can also see Spanish, like more translations in Spanish in different areas,
Yeah.
something like that. And we also like concentrate the the translations in English, like if in the center of Madrid, in the touristic places. And if you go, I mean, I live in the in, how do you say that? In as afueras, in the outside of this. I mean, I'm not living in the center,
Okay.
but I also figured it out that there's nothing translated. I mean, as a few things, but uh, no, not much as the uh, if we compare to the center of Madrid.
Yeah.
So it's like really different. Like you concentrating in like public areas, like for visitors.
Yeah, you have that a bit. I live in the Upper East Side, and when I was doing the assignment to find signs, I didn't find anything there. So I had to go into different parts of the city. So
Yeah.
there are definitely pockets where it is concentrated in one area.
Mm,
But yeah, I
okay.
from what I'm hearing, it's different in Madrid because it really isn't just in one area. You're
Mm,
finding more and more places across the city, and like I said, you have entire neighborhoods that really have, I would say, the majority of which
mm,
signs are in Spanish. I did a previous assignment for a class last year, And we were going through, we actually went through Spanish Harlem, and we were finding the different types of foods and lots of different people that spoke
Yeah.
Spanish. And I would say the majority of the signage there was in Spanish. So it was pretty cool to see just like the comfort within that neighborhood, and like
Mm.
the how much of the culture was Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
Really through the different cultures that are here. You got Puerto Ricans, you got Cubans, you got Dominicans, you have so
Yeah.
many cultures that speak Spanish. So it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I really like that because also Spanish people from Spain.
Yeah.
Well, we are the only one who speaks in Europe
Yeah.
Spanish. Uh, but when you move to South America, there's a lot of different cultures, and you know that you can also, if you know Spanish, you can also learn too much about a lot of different traditions or different type of food or something like that, like different cultures. That's really amazing because just by knowing Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's definitely a big difference between the two. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I think it would be the same with English.
Yeah.
Because I went to Britain and I would like to be in New York, or in New York also, but I mean in the US, and I know that there's a lot of differences also in, in the countries who speak English. So,
Yeah. So cool.
but yeah, I really enjoy that. I mean, like
Yeah.
to know more about cultures just with the language.
Yeah.
But I think we don't miss anything.
We covered it. Yeah.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Yay!